What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be previewing the 2019 NAB AFL trade period for Port Adelaide this year. It's going to be a very intriguing period for the next 10 days, starting Monday the 7th of October, heading all the way through to the 16th on the Wednesday in a week's time. So it's going to be a very interesting trade period. We're going to see who's potentially coming into the club, who's potentially going out, and what draft picks, what trades we could be looking at getting over the next 10 days. So let's get straight into this preview of the 2019 trade period for Port Adelaide. Now, we all know that the build up to this trade period has been a very interesting one. There's been names thrown around, there's been delistings already coming out of the club. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how we play this trade period and who we prioritise to get in first. I have a feeling for Port Adelaide overall that a lot of trades will be done very late in the period, because I don't see us, there's no real easy trades that are going to happen. We're dealing with Essendon for a possible Fantasia trade, and then you've got, obviously, we've got Paddy Ryder to deal with, Will Sam Gray, what club he'll go to, Frampton to the Crows, and then obviously we'll be looking at what players will be coming in, and that leads me straight into who's coming to Port Adelaide. There's only two names that have been thrown up so far. The obvious one is Orazio Fantasia. He looks to be the most likely to come to the club this trade period. Now, we know Essendon are notorious for being very hard to deal with in terms of getting a deal done. So that one in particular is going to be very hard to see exactly who or what we do to send, who we send there, what exactly we do with draft picks and stuff like that, because there's a lot of people pumping up numbers for that trade. Some people are saying that he's a first round draft pick. People are saying that he should be swapped for a player and a pick. Even the name like Ollie Wines has been thrown up, which I can categorically say he will not leave the club in 2019. I'm sure of it. He's come out and said already he loves the club. He's signed for 3 years. What else do you want from me? And I don't see it happening. So you can rule that one out. For Fantasia as well, there's a likely trade swap for Sam Pepper. Dougal Howard's name's been thrown up, whereas he's actually under contract for 3 more years as well. So I don't see that deal getting done as easy as we'd like to. Personally, for me, if we're going to get Fantasia, throw pick 29 in there, done, sold. That's all he's worth, in my opinion. Or you throw someone like a Sam Gray in the pick 29, and then they'll send Fantasia and pick 49. It sort of balances it out. I do rate Fantasia. I think he's a quality player when he's on and he's not injured. And it's a tough role to play, that small forward role. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. But I'll get into a little more detail a little bit later. But the next one is Matthew Allen from West Coast. That's probably the easiest trade that will get done for Port Adelaide. I feel will be a late pick, maybe in the 60s or the 80s. He hasn't played for West Coast. He's originally an SA boy, played for Glenelg, so it should be an easy trade to get done. I don't know exactly when abouts that will be done. It could be done almost straight away, or it could be done very late on the Wednesday to get everything across the line. Who else? Who else is Port Adelaide targeting this trade period? Not a lot of names. We haven't thrown out our name into a lot of baskets to see what we can pick out. Lukosius's name's come up a fair bit in terms of does he want to come home? Maybe that'll be next year when he's out of contract. I know the Crows will be fighting about that one as well. So there's not a lot of names that are potential to come to Port Adelaide. And I guess we'll just see how that one pans out across the next 10 days. Who's going? Well, a couple have already been stated the obvious. The Paddy Ryder trade, going to St Kilda. Sam Gray's name's been thrown up. Billy Frampton as well. Sam Pepper and Dougal Howard are the two ones that have question marks next to their name, whether they'll be used for trade bait in terms of the Essendon trade, or we go after somebody else, or we get a better pick for those two in particular. Dougal Howard for me is a must keep. He does have a lot of value to his name in terms of we could throw him out there and get something in return. But I think being under contract, he's a versatile player, and while he didn't have the greatest 2019 season, I feel like he's one that has to stay on the list. He's the future. He captained the club once, one game in 2019. And yeah, he's got so much upside, so I wouldn't be trading that type of caliber out of the club. Whereas, Sam Gray, he's been one of those fringe players for quite a while, so you could possibly get him for a third pick. You send him to St Kilda, you could package up Paddy Ryder and Sam Gray to St Kilda, get a second rounder back, and maybe a late fourth or fifth rounder. And, you could box them up for Fantasia to send that to Essendon. So it's a fascinating deal. When those players leaving, I think Frampton will probably get a pick in the 40s, 50s. He's got a value as well, which, yeah, he's one of them that has potential. And unfortunately, with the amount of time that we've had with him, we've just tried to see if he'd develop. And he's developing. I think a change for him would probably be best. So yeah, looking at Paddy Ryder and those types of players that are leaving, I think with Paddy, it's a tough one, but contract negotiations fell out, and basically he's off to St Kilda. What we'll get for him, as I said, could package him up with Sam Gray. I think he may probably be a third, fourth rounder on his own. Someone at that age, you won't get a lot of value back. It'd be nice to get a second rounder, but yeah, with his injury concerns and form-wise, it's the best you're going to get. So, there's some possible trades for you. Matthew Allen will be the easiest one. Fantasia is going to be the most difficult, and I think with Fantasia, dealing with Essendon, we know is the hardest thing to do in the trade period. They're going to value their players. They've come out and said that him and Joe Danaher, who's requested a trade to Sydney, they're value players and they want to keep them. And when they come out and say they want to keep them, they're going to be even harder to deal with. And I know we're going to end up paying overs. I hope it pays off if we get Fantasia and he does play his role. And you've heard so many different things about the way he goes about things, and yeah, I hope this isn't another graveyard trade, as David King came out and said, and it works out, because we're in need of a small forward. We're in need of a key position forward. We're in need of a speedy midfielder as well. And I know Sam Powell-Pepper going would be a little sad, and especially with his friendship with Boki and his continual improvement on his game, it's sad. But I think out of all the stocks that we have a lot of big body midfielders, and Sam Powell-Pepper might be the one to be pushed out. It's just going to be a fascinating trade period. And it's funny because last year we went into the period, we had names being thrown everywhere. We went very aggressive at picks. We got Rosie, Butters and Dersma. And now we're coming into this trade period, not exactly sure. Well, we haven't heard much. We've heard, obviously, requests to be traded. We've heard interest in Fantasia. And they're the big key things. And what's interesting is, I think Port Adelaide are flying under the radar a little bit, and they're not putting their hat in the ring as yet, which it fascinates me, because maybe we're keeping reserved, or we're going to be we're pretty happy with the playing group that we've got. We're just getting rid of a few fringe players and going after a bit more youth, with pick 10 going to be, I'm pretty sure we'll keep pick 10 in our draft picks. And for those that don't know, pick 10, pick 29, pick 63, 64, 65 and 83 are our draft picks. So a fascinating trade period. Let me know in the comments below, Port fans, what you're thinking will happen this period. Who are Port Adelaide going to target? And would you be going after Fantasia? So what do you think he's worth for Port Adelaide to get to the club? Thank you so much for watching this preview of the 2019 AFL trade period. Look forward to seeing you guys across the period. We'll be talking, hopefully putting out some content. I will be heading off to the Gold Coast in a week's time, so probably won't be a lot of stuff coming out, so be prepared for that. I do have a logo design competition currently running. Entries do end Monday the 7th of October, so if you have a design, get it in. I will be reacting to them later in the week, so we can give out a prize. The prize is going to be a $50 Port Store voucher, so get on board that, and I'd love to see your designs. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide content as well through this off-season into a big 2020 season celebrating 150 years. My name is Anthony, and as always, go on the Pear.